We're at the end of the long second day of semi-finals for Robosub 2013, but we weren't entirely sure we had a day at all. The fog blanketed us so deeply all day we almost thought we'd come under attack from undead pirates.
As we shivered in the mist, teams had their last of 2 scoring attempts to try to secure a place in the finals. But trying to take a driving test in the fog proved to be no easy task.
The practice sessions hadn't fully prepared every team for low light vision conditions, so the semi-finals results had a few surprises in store. Here's a summary of the highlights.
Overcoming a faulty pressure sensor, ITU just barely made it through the gates on day 1. Despite efforts to compensate with thrusters and floats, the sub continued to struggle with depth on day 2, rendering their second run unsuccessful.
You always want to wear your seatbelt when a University of Florida robot takes control. Subjugator put the pedal to the metal right off the dock, screeching through the gate to the solid buoy and sliding sideways through the parking task like a Hollywood stunt driver. After blowing past the speed traps in the toll booths perfectly while barely slowing down, the reptilian reprobate attempted to spin the steering wheel and successfully flip the shifter, the only sub to do so for points. Its need for speed seemingly sated, it parked for a rest stop nap near the octagon until the clock ran out.
The National University of Singapore used the first run in the semifinals for data collection. This risky strategy proved gainful when they cruised through the gates, making a beeline for the pizza delivery mission. Sensing the correct pinger and retrieving the box, a surface to the correct octagon ended the run with honey in the pot.
After pulling one battery out of the engine bay, Mälardalen University from Sweden improvised ballast with a spare hand tool strapped to the rear bumper in true Grease Monkey style. Gyro Drift had them doing circle work in the parking lot. Their best run gave them the gate and one path segment. Indian Institute of Technology Bombay planned a cannonball run straight across the course to the torpedo task, but after running a yellow light, one of its launchers got stuck to the buoy. The timer ticked down as they were disentangled by a diver, so they chose to keep this run as their best semi-final shot.
Daytona Beach homeschoolers are the first middle school team to compete here at Robosub. On day 1, the minnows experienced a catastrophic failure, but a little smoke in a control box wasn't going to cloud their judgment. Between runs, the teams schooled together to integrate a new compass and adjust motor angles, enabling them to speed through the gates in run 2. These minnows can hang with the sharks any day.
Blowing 2 thrusters didn't stop Ben Gurion University of the Negev from burning rubber across the course. Controlling yaw with differential power from their forward thrusters, the carbon fiber coupe blasted through one parallel parking gate in forward orientation and fishtailed through the second for an impressive speed run that put an adrenaline grin on every team member's face. Drowsy drivers are a danger on the road, as the University of Maryland demonstrated after an indomitable 4:30 a.m. marathon in the hotel pool. Tortuga 4 got through the gate, but lost the road soon thereafter, eventually drifting off the shoulder into the pool wall. A selfish process bogarted the camera, preventing them from resetting for another road trip.
The Carl Hayden High Schoolers proved yet again that age doesn't measure success. These falcons cut through the water as if soaring through the air, coasting over 2 lines, swooping down to buck a buoy, and making it all the way to the parallel parking mission.
Some said Corellian smugglers were responsible, while others blamed vision software problems as North Carolina State University's Imperial watercraft spun away from the hangar bay gate on each attempt. No matter, the power to defeat Dave Novick is insignificant compared to the power of the Force.
The Aquatuxes didn't quite make it to the ball this year. Suffering through hardware malfunctions and lost data, Toronto University gave a spiffy effort in Run 1, but decided to scratch the Run 2.
Demonstrating spectacular consistency, Amador Valley High School performed 2 identical runs on the second day of semifinals. Both times their robots squashed the solid red buoy like a Queenslander showing the proper way to run over a cane toad, by reversing back to drive over it again. With just minutes remaining, they recoded on the fly for a 3rd attempt, which paid off in spades by powering through the buoy to the parallel parking in 3 path segments.
Living up to their improve and practice motto, HEU made significant improvements between the 2 semifinal runs. After adjusting the white balance in their vision algorithm, the team went from barely making it past the gates to dominating the course, hitting a green LED buoy, parallel parking, and making it all the way to the pizza delivery mission.
Cornell's robot seemed to know its way around town like a New York cabbie. On its first semifinals attempt, it skillfully ran through the solid red and lit green traffic lights to find a sideways parallel park right outside its favorite deli. One successful speed trap and 2 toll booths later, it seemed stuck in traffic for a while near the steering wheel. Eventually, it took a back road towards the pizza pinger for a slice and cashed out its fare in the correct octagon.
After clearing the gates on day 1, the crowds were with Montana State University in Run 2. Once past the gates, they got caught in a staring contest with the buoy. Despite encouragement from its team, the bot failed to make contact.
Air electronics here at last. Far Eastern Federal University got to work making up for lost time. First on the agenda, an audition for the Fast and the Furious Vladivostok Drift, as the robot did a breathtaking spin and slide through its parallel parking space. Flawless speed trap marker drops had the Militia mystified while the sub zigzagged to the pinger and surfaced in the octagon.
Utah State University, also known as Gilligan, pulled their sub out with 8 minutes left in Run 2. Quickly recycling the pressure sensor allowed for the vehicle to leave the docked island, securing points for passing through the gate. Skipper would be so proud.
The University of Southern California's CB seemed to have left its parking brake off as it careened downhill repeatedly, ending up all the way on the bottom. Quick reprogramming got them through the gate at a reasonable depth, ending up stopped at the traffic lights with a solid red buoy touch.
Starting the semifinals in a circle frenzy to the left, Washington State and Idaho University discovered the failure was a mechanical issue after relentless testing between runs. In Run 2, they made a final attempt to fix the issues by turning off their 2 front thrusters. Unfortunately, this didn't straighten them out. Instead, it left the team reliant on static points alone.
Perennial contenders and all-around good guys, École de Technologie Supérieure Team Sonia suffered a big setback early on with an unusable front camera. Navigating the course with just their scanning sonar is like driving with an open pizza box on the dashboard, but they made a brave attempt anyway, ending up through the gate with torpedoes fired somewhere.
With endless troubles during the first run, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University fled the dockside impound lot, only to be pulled over after the gates due to unbalanced thrusters. Instead of asking for directions on their second attempt, the team opted for the scenic route, picking up some tips for next year by testing a new navigation algorithm.
The first wildcard slot went to Delhi Technological University, but sensor calibration problems and a malfunctioning pressure transducer kept them looping near the dock. After a full run of driving in circles, their license was stamped only for use in NASCAR. The University of Alberta couldn't quite get their flashy new machine constructed in time, so reverted to a prior year's model to claim the second wildcard slot. This vintage auto still revs up on demand. It motored through the gate, along the first path, and through the green traffic light. A classic weekend ramble. All qualifying teams who haven't made it into the finals will get to take part in one last chance session on Sunday morning.
But we do know the teams who are definitely going head-to-head in the final struggle Sunday afternoon. Here's who they are.
The University of Florida,
Cornell University,
Far Eastern Federal University,
National University of Singapore,
Amador Valley High School,
Harbin Engineering University,
Carl Hayden High School Falcon Robotics. With the diving dexterity on display to date, you know you'll be in for a treat on Sunday when we bring you our live finals webcast.
You'll be able to see every action-packed moment as if you were underwater yourself.
Hold your breath and bring your questions for the teams, and tune in from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time on July 28th, right here at robosub.org.